When I discovered the law of attraction, my life changed in many good ways and some not so good ways. I am Pauline and I am so happy you are here, because if you are interested in personal development, you probably have come across the law of attraction. Right now, it is more commonly known than it was 10 to 15 years ago when I uh, discovered it, and it was this really fringe niche kind of thing. And that's good. I mean, it's good that more people are aware of the power of your thoughts and positive thinking. But there are also some specific ways it can help you as a fearful avoidant, and some specific ways it can be a pitfall. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit more, because as a fearful avoidant, you tend to be interested in personal development, and that is an amazing thing. That's a good thing. It will bring you so much. It can definitely change your life in so many positive ways. Um, and that also increases the odds that you have run into the law of attraction and all the good things and the bad things about it. So I remember pretty distinctly when I discovered it, when I read about it for the first time. I think it was The Secret. I mean, the almost cliche way to first hear about it. And I was just mind blown that your thoughts, your vibration could have such an influence. So I was intrigued. I was definitely intrigued. I don't think I started applying it right away because I was filled with fear. This was right in the middle, I think, of the fearful avoidant attachment style crash state. I was just surviving day to day. I didn't think it was for me, which is already, actually, I haven't written that down, but one of the pitfalls that I have sometimes have a challenge with when it comes to the law of attraction, that people tend to make it seem so easy to be high vibe, and you have to be high vibe because otherwise your life will fall apart. And that is really hard if you're in survival mode and you are just filled to the brim with fearful and negative thoughts. So just to start off with that, it is okay if you have fearful and negative thoughts. It is not that the law of attraction only brings you positive things if you have 100% of the time positive thoughts and you feel positive 100% of the time. That is not realistic. Nobody is that way. And I have manifested so many incredible, crazy things while having a generalized anxiety disorder and OCD. So it is not necessary to be happy peppy all the time and be high vibe all the time. That is just a standard that can feel unattainable for when you have the fearful avoidant attachment style and you're still really struggling with that. So I want you to know that you can still benefit from the law of attraction if you want, if you're interested, even when you're filled with fear and anxiety. But I remember when I found it, I thought, oh, so this is not for me, because I have to believe in things, and I couldn't. I couldn't believe in myself. I couldn't believe in that the things that I wanted were available for me, were possible for me. So I kind of pushed it aside and thought, oh, that's another thing, another beautiful thing life has to offer that is just not for me, which is pretty sad when I look back on it. But then it was just, yeah, matter of fact, that was just what it was. And so I struggled along, I kept healing, and I think a year later or so, I ran into this exercise where it was talking about a dream house. And you had to write down what you wanted in the dream house, just be very detailed about, like, what do you want the hallway to feel like, what do you want the kitchen to feel like. It was just interesting, and I realized that I didn't have any emotional charge around a dream house. I was happy where we were living. We were living in a very small house, but it was just fine or perfect for us at that time. So it wasn't like, oh, I have to have this thing to be safe, and that is a big a key factor. I'll get back to that. But yeah, so it just felt like a fun kind of exercise to do. So I did that, I think together with Aryan. And I wrote down 46 points. So from how the hallway felt to just what I wanted the house to look like. And there were several things on there that were just, that seemed completely unattainable, because then we were living in this small apartment in the city. We were both really, really broke. We were living off of 40 euros a week for everything, for food, for how do you say, pharmacy supplies, stuff like that, clothes, everything. That was just 40 euros a week. We lived like that for years. And what I wrote down was that I would want a house in the middle of the country, which in the Netherlands is the most expensive part of the country. And it should be a freestanding house, which in the Netherlands is even really hard to come by, because the Netherlands is just so small. There are so many people, so many houses, that most houses are apartments or row houses. I don't even really know if you know what I mean. If you, for instance, live in the States or Canada, where a freestanding house is almost like the default, and then you have some other types of houses. But here, pretty much all houses are row houses or two under one roof, so connected. And freestanding houses are really the exception. But I wrote that down because I thought, well, that seems amazing to have a garden surrounding the house. I wanted it to be in the middle of the forest, which again is very hard because there is not a lot of forest ground in the Netherlands. Definitely not in the middle of the Netherlands, which is just very full of everything, cities, buildings. So I wanted it to be in nature. I also wanted it to be healthy built. So that meant for me either with how do you say this? Obviously, did all of this in Dutch. Either wood or how do you say that? Cob, I guess. And that also was unattainable because that is more expensive than traditional building styles. I just wrote it down, and I didn't even really think too much about it, but I do remember thinking, well, who knows? It might be possible in a way that I just cannot fathom right now. We also wrote down that it would be kind of a community, had no idea how that would work out, and also that we would get free food by living there, which is just, when I look back on it, it's such a weird thing to write down, because I like, why did I even write that down? I don't even know, but that just seemed cool. That you would live someplace and you would share a lot of things, and maybe because of that have free food or something. Maybe that was the thought in my head. I don't know, but I wrote that down, and then at the end, the exercise said you have to write down a date by which you want to live in the house. And I did this exercise in March of 2014, and I thought, well, if I even can fathom that this is possible, I think it would be possible in about 5 years. That would be like the shortest amount of time that I thought it would be possible. So I wrote down, and we would live there in March 2019. Fast forward to 2019. Well, first of all, in 2014, we both had no idea what we were doing. I was doing the project of interviewing 100 couples, but it wasn't a book yet. There was no publisher yet. There was nothing. I was just surviving, really. Like I said, we were living on 40 euros a week on Arjen's salary mostly. I was cleaning houses on the side and doing like side jobs and side hustles. And yeah, we were just kind of surviving. We didn't have any ideas for our own business or whatever. And then in 2015, we went to the States. We lived there for half a year in Portland, which changed so much. That's where both of us got the idea to start our own business, because we were passionate about certain things. So Arjen started making cider. I wanted to help people with relationships, because that was just, with the interviews I did with the couples that had a happy marriage for over 40 years, I was just so inspired by that, and I wanted to help people with that. And so in 2016, that all started. And then in 2016, Arjen was looking for a place to make cider, and he was looking at estates because they usually have orchards and like sheds or big sheds where sometimes they look for people to rent that. And so he came across this estate in the middle of the Netherlands, in the forest, in nature, in a nature area, which again are pretty scarce in the Netherlands. I did not think back to this exercise, by the way. It was just, oh, this is interesting, and we went there. It was absolutely gorgeous, just so beautiful. And long story short, it took 3 years of incredibly hard work, but we made a plan for that. It was kind of like almost like a competition where you had to enter a plan, and then the plan would get chosen, and then you would go into this process, and there were so many meetings, and just there was a lot of paperwork and a lot of just work. But in 2019, it wasn't March, but it was May, we moved into our newly built wooden house that was completely healthily built. I don't know how you say that, but just with healthy materials, in nature, in the middle of the Netherlands. It was crazy. And I think around that time I thought back to, wait, didn't we do an exercise about this? And I found that book somewhere after the move, and I looked at those 46 points, and 44 out of the 46 points came true, including the free food, because we were at an estate and friends of ours ran the restaurant that started right across from us. So we lived at this little square. It was very picturesque. We lived right across from a restaurant, and sometimes they had excess food and they would come and bring it to us. I could not have imagined that in 2014. We didn't even know those friends back then. So it was just, yeah, I could not have orchestrated any of this. That was definitely law of attraction. So this is a long story to to kind of introduce this, but just to show you that I did realize that it worked. And going back to when I discovered the law of attraction, I do remember that it kind of felt like a relief, because I realized that I wanted my relationship at that point to be perfect in that moment. Like, it had to be perfect right now, because it would just get worse and worse and worse. That was kind of a belief that I had. And when I found the law of attraction, I thought, oh, but maybe your relationship can also improve. And if it's not perfect now, it doesn't mean that it can't be perfect. You just have to focus on, the positive things and all the things that they say when it comes to law of attraction. So that gave me such a relief that anything is possible, even if it's not here now. And then I kind of started, after a year, I started applying it to that dream house. And then when that came true, that was just such a confirmation that the law of attraction is real, and it does work. And it still gives me a sense of peace to know that, everything is possible, even if it's not here right now. If I have a very clear vision, if I align myself with that, make sure that I feel and believe that is possible in whatever way for me, if I release any resistance or blocks that I have towards it, then it is possible. And I might not be able to do all of that in this second, but if it's really that important to me, I will be able to do that. And that still gives me a sense of peace that is possible. Of course, especially after having such a beautiful confirmation that the law of attraction does work. Just to finish the story about the house, we lived there for 4 years, and it was an incredible experience. It really was everything that I wrote down in that list. And in the end, we still decided to leave, because the demands of being a groundkeeper, because that was the way we got into there. We were still broke when we moved there. Um, but because we were groundkeepers of the estate, we could live there. And that those demands were just too high. So we ended up leaving paradise and leaving that beautiful house. And now we live just in a very cute, quaint, normal house in a different city, and we're very, very happy because we realize that freedom of time is very important to us, and maybe more important than just having the dream house, the perfect house. So you live and you learn, and I think that's the beautiful thing about law of attraction also, that it helps you to actually make your dreams come true, so that you can really feel if that is what you want, and then build on that experience. I would never have wanted to miss that experience, because it has taught us so much, it has made us so much stronger, and we just learned so much. So it was so worth it in so many respects. So yeah, wait, where was I going? um so that, yeah, the law of attraction, it is still part of my life. It is still something I am interested in, that I use. But what I also realized is that there is a big pitfall, and especially for fearful avoidants, who tend to want safety and security and sometimes seek that in perfection. It really triggered my perfectionism, because I thought, if only my, my alignment is perfect enough, if I have clear enough visions of every single area of my life, then my whole life will be perfect for the rest of my life. And that is just not something that was serving me. Um, and I see that a lot in the law of attraction world, that perfectionism can be really, it can be, it can really be a pitfall. And I think the law of attraction is a beautiful thing if you have a basis of safety and security inside of yourself. And I do have that. I still have that, and I had that for a while. But the the perfectionist part of me was definitely triggered by the law of attraction. Um, and perfectionism is also just something that is not serving me, serving most people. It is linked to depression and yeah, to frustration and being unhappy. And I realized that. I realized that I wanted everything to be perfect. I was frustrated that the house, our dream house situation, wasn't perfect for a while. Um, and then I realized, you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. It was really good. There were so many beautiful things, and I get to be grateful for that. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because I don't need perfection to be safe. So it's right now I'm kind of figuring out how I want to use the law of attraction, how much I just want to surrender to life, because then sometimes just the most beautiful, unexpected things also happen. So it's kind of like right now I'm using a combination of just, focusing on uh, just being grateful and being happy as much as I want to and can be. Um, Not demanding that from myself, because humans are messy and emotions just come and go, and that's fine too. And just accepting what is, and that is giving me even more peace um, than the law of attraction gave me in the beginning, because that also gave me the feeling that I had to achieve everything that was possible in this life. And now I just want to be um, where I am right now. When you're watching this video, I probably have another baby. I have 2 children, and that's amazing. And that's just something I am extremely grateful for, and I want to spend time on and just enjoy. And not really have a set image of what that should look like. Just curious to get to know these little souls and characters, and get to guide them. Um, so yeah, it's a process of just surrendering also to the magic of life that is already here, where things really don't have to be perfect. And by accepting things as they are and not being perfect, there is just so much more magic and relaxation and peace, even more. So yeah, I'm just kind of surrendering to that more and more, while also knowing that anything is achievable with the law of attraction, which is still a pretty cool thing to know that that works. So it definitely helped me to heal, because it kind of relieved the pressure of everything having to be perfect right now. It helped me learn how to visualize and to tune in and to feel what was in alignment and what wasn't in alignment. So what felt good for me and what didn't. Um, and it made it harder in the sense that yeah, it definitely triggered my perfectionism, that I had to achieve everything that I wanted to achieve, otherwise I wouldn't be good enough. So I had to work on that. I am truly curious whether you know the law of attraction, whether you consciously apply it, whether you're working with it, whether you're reading about it, are intrigued about it. Maybe you have stories of yourself of manifesting beautiful things. Please let me know in the comments, because I do love talking about law of attraction, especially because I find that there is a lot of law of attraction teachers, manifestation teachers who are so focused on the high vibe part, and kind of forget that there are a lot of people who are really struggling with accepting their thoughts and their feelings, and um, making this even harder to do that. So I'm here for you. If you have any questions around this, please let me know. Um, and yeah, to wrap up that story, I manifested that house, that dream house, while being completely scared, having so much anxiety and still OCD for a bigger part of those 5 years. So it definitely wasn't that I was high vibe. I was very much struggling in 2014, 15, 16 still. So anything is possible and nothing has to be perfect, which is good. Okay, such a long video again. Thank you for watching to the end. As always, I really truly hope that this was valuable for you. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I'm so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one.
Healed and Happy is a tailor-made online program where me and my team personally guide you through healing the roots of a fearful avoidant attachment style.